Middleton Zoning Board of Appeals open meeting, month of July 2019. First item on the agenda tonight is the board's minutes of the meeting of July, shouldn't be July 25th.
25th, yes.
Yep.
It says January 24th, yeah. July 25th, yeah, July 25th.
But it should be June.
I got June 27th here.
Okay. I'm afraid I got a copy of the July. We're looking at the minutes of June 25th, June 2019.
My mistake.
All the board members have a copy and had an opportunity to review them.
Yep.
Is there a motion for acceptance?
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting, minutes of the
Motion
meeting.
to accept the minutes. There's second.
I'll second.
Motion is made and second. All those in favor, vote.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a couple of continued public hearings. I'm going to go out of order. And we'll start with special permit 10695 Riverview. We have a correspondence on that.
Yep. To the Board of Appeals on behalf of Christopher, Riverview, you said?
5 Riverview,
Oh, 5,
yeah.
yep. On behalf of Christopher Deo of 5 Riverview, we kindly ask for continuance to September 26, 2019 zoning board regarding the special permit application 1069. The architect is out of the country for July and August, and plans have not been completed. And that's from George Bernard.
So, request for continuance. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to continue.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor, vote.
Aye.
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 The next item on the agenda to be continued, 59 South Main Street, permit 1074. We have correspondence on that?
On behalf of the applicant Fairway Estates LLC, the undersigned hereby requests a continuance of the public hearing to consider the application for a use variance to develop and use the property located at 59 South Main Street as a condominium complex for people over the age of 55. Please be advised that the Fairway is awaiting the results of a traffic study. We would like to have that information before addressing the board. I hereby request the public hearing be continued until the next scheduled meeting on August 22nd, 2019, to provide Fairway and representatives with additional time, and that's from Jill Mann.
A motion for continuance.
I'll move to continue.
There's a motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor, vote.
Oh, wait, if I may,
Okay, on the motion?
on that motion, does council think we're gonna meet the burden?
I do.
Okay.
Okay. Motion's made and second. All those in favor, vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
If I count.
application's continued for August 22nd. Next item I'm going to take up is North Meadow Village, expiration of construction completion, B&B Development Group. Is there anyone here to speak about it?
Do you have to open this?
Would you like? Yep. I don't think we have anything
Do
to
we have to
open it
open?
with.
Nothing
This
to
is on
open?
a-
No, I don't think we do, yeah.
on an escrow that's
Yeah.
held by the town.
Right.
Please, sir, identify yourself.
Anthony Bonacorso, a B&B Development Group, just asking for a 30-day extension to complete a few items that remain on the punch list.
Is this the drainage stormwater basin,
Yes, there was supposed to
nail
be two.
house, irrigation, landscape, curb washout?
All that is done with the
List
exception
of
of one manhole. So we have a list of everything. I just need a little more time to finish one more item.
You want to continue until the next meeting? Is that
Please, yes,
your
the
request?
22nd of August, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There's a request for continuance on this issue to August 22nd. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to continue.
Well, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Have you checked all these things that are supposed to be done? No. So he's just saying they're done, you're not saying they're done?
This
We have
letter,
a letter from the conservation agent in
Okay.
there too.
but yeah, this letter was delivered this afternoon,
Oh.
so no, I haven't checked anything.
You have not checked it.
Nope.
Mr. Chairman, you do have people in the audience too. I know it's not a public hearing, but if they're from North Meadow Village. It's up to you if you want to let them speak or not.
Well, certainly, they can be heard, yeah. Would you like to identify
Yes,
yourself,
please.
ma'am?
Yes. I am Joyce Tyrus. I am one of the trustees from North Meadow Village. And I have a packet for you, and I'd like to go over the things that are outstanding on this.
You have a package
I-
you'd like to deliver tonight?
Yes, I do.
Well, it's difficult for the board to make decisions on things that you just hand them now.
I understand
You know, the rules require that you have some time for the board to consider these things.
I understand
But you're
that.
welcome to submit it, yeah? And you are welcome to talk about it.
I'd like to hear you about.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Bonacorso has been very amenable to any concerns.
I'm
And
familiar with the project, yeah?
so maybe a 2-month continuance or a 2-month extension might be appropriate for this case to allow us to review concerns with, you know, the people that are there and give him time. I mean, he's been nothing but good.
Yep.
I think for this project, because we all know where the project started, and it was a nightmare. And I
Point
think
well taken, yeah?
2 months
Mr.
might.
Chairman, we could actually maybe sit down with the developer and the neighbors, staff, to talk about what's left outstanding, so that we can go through it first and make sure that those items are his responsibility.
And it's summertime, you know, so a lot of the things I'm sure are gonna be on that list are summertime issues, you know, landscaping, that kind of thing. So it might be something that would be good for everybody.
I've never received that list, so I'm interested to see what it is as well. If there's a copy, I'd like to review it.
Well, the list has to be copied and circulated to the board and so on. It isn't something we're gonna make a decision on now, but we're more than happy to accept it.
Okay.
Please go ahead and tell us what you'd like to say, ma'am.
Okay. The residents of North Meadow Village are concerned about releasing the remaining funds on the bond. We know and appreciate that Mr. Bonacorso has been working on the list, but not all items have been completed. Our fear is the funds are going to be released and the remaining items on the project will be left incomplete. The following items listed on the bond are still either open or incomplete. The drainage, nothing has been done for the drainage manhole cover adjacent to units 28 and 30 on White Cedar Drive. If you look at the site plan, they show a drain in place, and there isn't one. There,
Manhole cover, excuse me, that's the unit that's way back at the end of the
no,
road?
it is not.
I
It's
know they
about
had an
halfway
open
up.
manhole back there
No,
originally.
It's
They have a
about,
cover on that now?
I believe they do, but this is about halfway up White Cedar. There are two double catch drains opposite each other, and there should be a drain that they
I have it on
go
my-
into.
I have it on my list of items to complete, and that's what I planned on doing. That's why I asked for an extension.
Okay.
That's probably a good example of why we should.
Why we should
Add a
let
little
me
more
get through the
time.
list instead of wasting everybody's time tonight, and I will address all of them.
We can look through it. You don't
Okay.
have to read it.
Let's
Okay.
Let the young lady finish. Are you finished,
Oh,
ma'am?
well, I have other items on there if you want me to
You're
go
welcome
through
to
them.
address them,
Okay.
yeah.
The irrigation behind the mail house is not complete. There are open wires and no splice box. One valve needs a valve box, and there's open wiring there. The adjustments need to be made to the sprinkler heads. Water is hitting Unit 1, and another sprinkler waters the storm drain basin 50% of the time. The replacement grass behind the mail house is not full. There are numerous bare spots and rocks throughout. There are tools, wheelbarrow, and gas cans that remain in the area behind the mail house. They've been there for a year, never removed. The paving around the drainage hole by the visitor parking opposite 22 White Cedar Drive has not been completed. The sewer manhole at the driveway located at White Cedar Drive has been uncovered but not raised and graded. It appears as though they are only going to pave around it and not raise it. A newly uncovered shut-off wall, water shut-off in front of 12 Cranberry Lane is not paved. There are 2 manhole covers that are wrong. On White Cedar Drive in front of Unit 11, there's a
What do you mean when you say they're wrong? They don't fit properly?
No, there's a manhole cover that says drain, but on the site plan, it's a sewer. And on White Cedar at the intersection of Cranberry Lane, there's a manhole cover that says sewer, and on the site plan, it says drain.
But you don't have a sewer there.
Yes, there are.
You're on a septic system. right?
Yes, but
Yeah.
the covers are incorrect.
They're not put in the right places.
That's
I
correct.
get it, okay?
And as far as any of the conservation issues, the residents of North Meadow Village are relying upon the expertise of the Conservation Commission to verify the proper completion of the work required.
Okay, that's good. Does the contractor have a copy of your list?
No, he does not.
Might be worthwhile passing that along to
Okay,
him.
I can do that.
And I believe that the board is going to consider a 60-day continuance on this matter, so there won't be any funds released until that time, and we'll address all those issues and be sure that they're all completed before the board even contends with the issue of releasing funds.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Could I suggest an October 1st completion date?
October 1st?
Wants to continue to
October 1st, yep, got it, okay. Do you need to
Well,
vote?
we continue the,
Meeting.
To the meeting in October.
well, we're not gonna meet October 1st, but
No.
we're gonna extend the
You're continuing the-
compliance
it's a-
date till
it's a
October 1st.
tripartite.
We want to
That's it.
continue to
That's
the
what I-
meeting in
that's what I had.
October.
No, you're just extending it's not a tripartite because there's 4 parties, but it's a tripartite agreement?
You're extending the security agreement with the funds held to make him complete the work.
The
By
construction
by
completion
October
date.
1st, and that way we have time to review it in the October meeting.
Yeah, September.
That's fine.
Right,
Okay,
Is it September, October?
or we're gonna
Yes, the-
vote on it in
Yeah,
October.
you're going to give them
right?
60 days then.
Is that what we're saying?
60 days goes
Give
until
them
like the
60 days.
September meeting, and I'm
Okay.
just giving a little extra couple days to October 1st.
Okay. So we're voting in October meeting?
In October.
Nope, you
No,
vote
we're
September.
voting in September. Okay.
It may be completed.
Yeah. The
Okay.
Bonacoso, can you get it all complete by then?
I'll review and I can't see why not.
You want to make sure you give enough
I
time.
think I
but
get it
then-
done in 20.
Yeah.
You want to get it done, you get it done.
This is about a week's worth of stuff at the most.
We should be all right. All right.
Sooner the
Minor.
better.
This is all minor.
Sooner the better, and obviously,
Just-
will
Most
be
of it's just
reflected.
paving, most of it's just getting the paver in there to do it, and one manhole, that's what I said in the beginning, there's one manhole that remains. I just found out about the other manhole today. That's why I was requesting the extension to raise it. But appreciate the opportunity to fulfill this obligation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on the matter of North Meadow Village, expiration of the construction completion date, a motion to continue to October 1st. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to continue?
Seconded.
Motion made and second.
It's to extend the construction completion date in that agreement.
We're extending the expiration.
Yep, to October 1st, and then we'll
October
review
1st.
at that October meeting.
Yep, the motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is continued.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Do you remember, Craig, when we went up there and did the site walk?
Oh, yeah. Which one?
That was a while ago. Yeah, we've done like 3
That
times.
was like 4 years ago.
At least like
was a couple
18
years
months
ago.
ago?
Oh, yeah,
Sound right?
yeah.
Mr.
was at least
Nazaro,
that
like
much.
4 years ago.
Yeah, we've done quite a few.
And that hasn't finished yet, huh?
I think I remember there was some concern about, well,
Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, no, it's,
All right, next
think-
item
I
on
think
the
we'll get it
agenda
there.
is 234 South Main Street,
This one, you wanna open?
uh,
I got it.
a wall sign and site plan modification.
According to the provisions of Chapter 48, the zoning board of appeals will hold a public meeting Thursday, July 25th, 2019 at Fuller Meadow. Act on the following petition on the application of Cami Real Estate Holdings LLC for a special permit site plan approval under section 5.2.11 pursuant to section 5.2.7 and section 9.5.3 of the Middleton zoning bylaw, or any additional relief the board may find necessary to authorize the petitioner to install a second wall sign and modify the existing site plan to show the location of the proposed new ground sign on property located at 234 South Main Street, Assessors Map 33, Parcel 51. The abutters have been notified, and there is some correspondence, I believe. But I have to review it.
We'll hold that.
Yeah.
Okay. Counselor, please.
Good evening, Board. My name's Jill Mann. I'm here on behalf of RA Wireless that does business as the Wireless Verizon program located at 234 South Main Street. Cami is the owner of that building and leases the particular property to the wireless company. Here with me this evening are its two principals. This evening we're here because we are seeking to get relief relative to a sign on the side of the building. The best thing to do is actually to look at the aerial because it's so much easier to explain the building. Everybody knows the Verizon building. Everybody knows the building. So here you can see that it has an entrance on 114, and it also has an entrance on Log Bridge Road. Basically, the Log Bridge Road entrance is used for people who are coming, how do you say it? East on the property. They take a right typically on Log Bridge Road. And in addition, some people will even, instead of trying to cut over who are going west, will go to the light and turn because it is very difficult, everybody knows that particular crossing, to be able to cut across, right after the Dairy Queen. It's a hard turn. So a lot of people do come back and go around through Log Bridge. The particular applicant is looking to locate a second wall sign on the side of that building facing the Log Bridge Road side. And in your package, I did provide you with a rendering of what that sign would look like. It's located in your package, so you can see the Verizon sign. It's the identical sign. It's a standard internally lighted channel box with the Verizon in white and then the traditional check mark on the side. That particular sign, again, is required for them because it is one of the entrance points to the building, and they do want to direct people to actually enter that way. They would prefer people to enter off of Log Bridge than to try and traverse across 114. And that is the reason for the request. And pursuant to our zoning bylaws, one of the conditions for obtaining a special permit to allow for a second wall sign is actually having frontage on another way, having an entrance on the second way, and or having a parking lot that faces the alternative side, if you will. And this particular building is exceptionally unique in that it meets all of those criteria. Many times when you actually permit a second sign, it may not comply with all of those criteria, and this particular one, in fact, does. So we are seeking that special permit to allow the sign. Pursuant to the sign bylaw, you cannot have a sign that is larger than 1 square foot per 1 linear foot. The linear footage of the side of that building is 32 feet. This particular sign is 28 square feet. So it is below that which is permitted. And it is a slightly bit smaller than the front sign, although you really can't tell that from the rendering, but it is. Basically, that's one of the requests. The second request is to locate a pylon sign. For some reason, when the original site plan approval was initially issued, there was no site plan that showed a sign. So what we're doing today is coming back to show where the pylon sign would be located and to actually install a pylon sign. Under normal circumstance, a pylon sign is permitted by right under, the zoning bylaw. So whenever you put up a building, you're entitled to one. But you are supposed to show it on your site plan. That's why we are here seeking a modification to the existing site plan to simply locate the sign. I think it's almost better, Katrine, if you put the aerial up again to show exactly where it's going to be, because it's so, you can't picture it. Okay, so I'm gonna try and get close. You have that pointer again?
Yep.
Thank you so much, Katrina. Ms. O'Leary. So basically, where we're going to be putting this sign is right here. That's where the sign will be. So it's a perfect location because you'll be able to see it from both points. You'll be able to see it actually from Log Bridge Road a little bit when you're coming down, and then you'll be able to see it when you're at the light. At the present time, when you look from the light down, you literally don't know what that building is unless you're from Middleton and pass it 6 times a day like we all do.
Sign in there for the business center?
There's this, on this side, Mr. Nazaro.
But
It's
isn't-
right around
Is
here.
that showing on your map? here?
No, this is too old. This is, I couldn't
An
get
old
a
picture.
new enough sign, a new enough plan. It's right, it's on this side, because if you remember, so it's really strange. You ready? So the town property, and you can see it kind of on the plan, the right-of-way is, like, cuts like this. That's where the right-of-way goes. So it goes just like this. So what the town did is it allowed North Shore Business Center, may even conveyed, I can't remember, this area so it could put its off-premises sign, but it's on this side, and it faces this way.
So this new sign isn't gonna have any effect on the other sign that's existing?
No, it's on the front.
It's not gonna block it in any way?
No, it's impossible, no,
Yeah.
because it was on this side, right, like, I think right here, isn't it, Craig? It's like, yeah, I know for a fact it's on the back sid because I was the one who did the work.
Well, I remember we
Yeah.
gave you permission to do
Yeah.
that.
I was one of the ones who voted on it. So.
Yeah, it's right like here, I think. I mean, obviously, it doesn't block it here, no. So we're simply seeking to modify the existing site plan to allow for that. Pursuant to the requirements, basically, you need to demonstrate that this is an appropriate location. The side of the building is an appropriate location in that it conveys a message to the passing public, so it's readily, passing public is readily able to identify the building when you have the side sign as well as the pylon sign, obviously. Essentially, in this particular neighborhood, as well as in the business and light industrial districts, it is not uncommon to have signage on 2 sides of the building when it's necessary to, again, identify the building for the passing public. The second wall sign doesn't create any nuisance or any hazards. It doesn't flash, it doesn't move. It's simply an illuminated sign to give the passing public an identification point, that's all. It complies with all of the dimensional requirements of the sign bylaw. And in addition, relative to the ground sign, the petitioner is proposing absolutely no changes to the site plan. It's simply literally updating the site plan to provide a location for the pylon sign. The ground sign, pylon sign, also complies with all of the requirements. Under Middleton zoning bylaw, you're entitled to put up a sign that's 15 feet tall. This particular sign is 14 feet tall, and you're permitted for a single occupant building to install a sign that has 36 square feet of advertising area. This particular sign has 30 feet of advertising area. So basically, the ground sign, i.e. the pylon sign, complies with all of the dimensional requirements. In addition, this sign is set back 10 feet from the boundary line of the property. And those are all of the requirements. So essentially, what we are seeking tonight is a determination by this board in the issuance of a special permit that the second wall sign provides information to the public in a proper way. Oh, I just saw you guys look like you had a question. In a proper way, in an efficient manner, and it actually supports the purposes of the sign bylaw. In addition, the ground sign doesn't negatively impact any of the legitimate interests of abutters, and in fact is able, again, to identify information for the town, and it is a permitted by right use. We're simply looking to modify, permitted by use structure, I suppose. And we're simply attempting tonight to have the board approve it so that it can go on the record in that sign location is part of the town record relative to the site plan for this property. Based on that information, I would ask that this board grant a special permit for the second wall sign as well as a modification to the existing site plan approval to allow for the ground sign to be added to that plan. Thank you.
Yep. This is dated July 24th from the ICDRC. On July 23rd, the board met with Attorney Jill Mann, who was representing Cambie Real Estate Holdings, Inc., asking for a pylon sign and more signage on the building at 234 South Main Street. The ICDRC voted unanimously to approve the pylon sign. The signage on the building is shown by Metro Sign Drawing 199031. And according to the fire chief, police chief, assessor, Meld, DPW and Water Department, nobody has any issues.
Anyone have any questions, board members?
I do. Has the adjacent property owner been notified that this tenant or owner is, just because I know there was a big to-do with the northeast.
They were in a butter notified.
Okay, so that was my only concern, that it would hinder the visibility of his sign.
Yeah, I mean, not where it's located. If it were located on the opposite side, where Logbridge side,
Yeah.
it definitely would. Here, no.
Okay.
This is sort of like the same as Starbucks wanted the sign on the side. Is this a franchise request?
Kind of and not at the same time. So it's the same because it's two signs, but it's not the same because Starbucks didn't comply with any of the criteria. Pursuant to the bylaw, if you're going to get a second wall sign, the sign bylaw specifically says
Excuse me.
you should, God bless you. The sign bylaw says that you should have a second entrance. You should have that be part of the area on which the building is, that it should be, also have frontage on a second street. So for corner, essentially, the particular provision for second signs is a corner lot. Starbucks wasn't necessarily on a corner lot.
So their entrance off Longbridge is giving them,
It 100%, Mr.
Identifying the
Nazaro.
business,
Yes,
yeah.
the entrance, so it's a corner lot, so that's what gives them or allows them to satisfy those criteria.
yeah, thank you.
This is just purely a curious question for the owners. Who picked that paint color for that building?
It's gray, the gray color?
The black color,
Horizon.
kind of foreboding. Did you pick that color?
No, it's Verizon.
Verizon.
The color code for
Come on,
Verizon.
seriously?
Yeah.
That's horrible. I've had more comments about this place looks like a morgue. You may want to talk to them. It's not really very flattering. Sorry, but people have mentioned it.
Any other board members have any questions?
So,
We have a motion?
I have a question. If it pleases the board. So, you want a pedestal sign?
We're also looking to add the pylon sign, the
Yeah.
pedestal sign, that,
Why do
which
we-
everybody has, it just, they never added it.
Why do we even need it, though? You sounds
Well,
like,
well, that's my question, because you've got
Just
this
one more
beautiful
sign.
face of the building that covers your east traffic advertising area, that you could just put the Verizon sign on that. Like, why do you need another pedestal sign?
cluttering up
Okay,
the road.
honestly, advertising. I mean, it's the best thing in the world for people. That's why everybody has a pylon sign and wall signs to the extent. That's why Starbucks didn't want one sign, two signs, but three signs. You know, were they really entitled to it? The pylon sign they're entitled to by right.
Because they already have two and they get a third?
Sorry, I'm joking up on this whole Starbucks thing.
I don't mean to bring that up.
That's not a good thing to bring up.
None of us brought it up, and
Counselor,
so
wait a
it's,
minute now, don't blame me.
yeah, none of us
I
brought
didn't
it
bring
up.
up, did I bring up the Starbucks? I
You
might
used
have.
the Starbucks.
Yeah, like, we're all choking over here.
Oh, because I said the Starbucks sign was permitted. Okay, I did.
Yeah.
I could have said the North Shore Bank one, but that one complied with all the criteria, because it had an entrance. North Shore Bank has it on both sides, but they have an entrance from River Street.
Sometimes less is more.
Ah,
Yeah, that's kind of the idea here, yeah.
And
There's a lot of signs on
I'm
that
ready
road.
to fall out of my chair. I got a problem with that pedestal sign.
that one you can't really have a problem with. That one is that's the one that everybody's entitled to. I wish I could say
Then why
not,
But if you're entitled to it, then
You didn't do
why
it.
should we grant you other relief?
Yeah.
because pursuant to the terms of the special permit, we comply with every single solitary criteria required, every one. I mean, it's what the bylaw allows. That's why the IDRC approved it. It's what the criteria allows. If you look at
Yeah.
section 5.2. I mean, they're not overburdening this property. This property is a
It's
corner
just
lot.
another sign, Jill. There's so many signs on the 114. It's already
We
starting to look
granted-
trashy.
We already granted the off-site sign on that corner there for the
Right,
North
but
Shore
that,
Business
you
Center.
cannot consider, that's not fair to burden this particular owner
No,
with what you
no,
gave
we're,
to
we're,
another
we're,
person.
we're
got
looking
two
at the
signs.
neighborhood character and what's already in place there.
So we granted an off-premises sign to someone I don't think that you can hold that against a current property owner.
No
I
one's
don't
holding
think
anything
that-
against anybody. I
And it's
just-
not on the same property, it's a separate lot. I mean, I understand, but you look at, Dairy Queen has, 2 signs, you look at, all properties have 2 signs. This one happens to have 2 wall signs, because you can't see the front of the building coming east, and you definitely can't see it coming from Log Bridge Road. And I have to tell you, I don't think from Log Bridge Road, if you took the turn, I'm not so sure how much of the pylon sign is all that visible, if you're taking the turn. I don't know. I haven't gone out there to look, but I do know the pylon sign. I mean,
I'm sure you know, coming up 114 into that intersection, it's impossible to read all the signs on your left and right, plus the mall with
yeah, no, oh.
Market Basket
The
and all their
400 sign
associated
I know.
signs.
Yeah, there's too many
Yeah, it's right
signs
there.
on that one sign.
So,
There you go.
it isn't,
But that is why, I mean,
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Oh,
I guess
I'm sorry.
my only problem is
Don't touch it.
if you grant the pedestal sign, we grant it no matter what's on it, right? Content doesn't matter. It's size and scope.
well,
So-
we're showing you what it is at this point, yeah.
Right, but.
Oh, for First Amendment rights, you mean?
No, oh, gosh, don't even get me started on that.
That was a minute ago.
No, I'm saying, like, if an owner other than Verizon is in there, they get the same sign with the same area, correct?
Oh, yes,
And they can-
it's only
and they can-
30 feet.
And they
Yep.
can change the
I
content.
understand now, yes. They can
That's
change
more
the
than
name
that.
on the sign, yes.
So I guess I'm a little concerned about how much we're adding to the signage in that square. Because it's busy. That's just,
Greg, excuse me for 1 second. Where did you say the Not Sure sign was?
On the back side. Where is it?
On Log
Not the
We
back
have it
side.
right here, so.
that's part of my problem too, is I don't know where that new sign, that new North Shore sign is.
It's in the middle. It's-
I can't see, on the other
It's,
side.
it's
No,
right
no,
there,
you-
so it's
You
in.
said it was over here, didn't you?
Oh, but I mean, it's I don't know, it's
Across the
but
street.
it's on the back side of it, it's not on the front
Kind of.
side. There's no possibility of any impact. It's-
That was my interpretation.
It's not there, no.
No, it's.
No, it's
No,
over
it's-
to the right,
Here it is, it's right here.
Yeah.
like Right in there.
yeah.
It's not, because I know they don't own that front piece, because there wasn't any ability to. It's
Yeah,
like-
that
can I
was
see
part
it?
of the whole
Yeah.
deal.
It goes to the edge of the parking lot.
Yeah, it's right here.
That's it?
It's like
But that's
right
the
there.
intersection right there, yeah?
And so the new,
Right here, it goes
Pedestal.
like this, it goes this way, right behind here, like right here.
that's my interpretation.
The new pedestal sign is here.
But your picture there is at the intersection, right?
Yeah, that's the intersection right there.
Looking this way, though.
That's looking from like Daly's,
Across the
Daly's,
street at
I mean,
Daly's. There it is.
Main Street Grill.
I guess I'm not allergic to this.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like we need a little bit better visualization of what we're,
But I have to tell you, with all due respect, you're really looking at the North Shore Business Center sign in terms of blocking it makes abundant sense, because you can't hurt the legitimate interests of a property owner, and I get that. But it's on the opposite side. It's clear.
but we've got at least 3, 4, now 5, 6 members who don't quite know where the sign's
I'll
going.
show you the plan. I mean, it's
It's
not
just-
hard to figure it out. It's like, can I show them?
Yeah,
I'm
that
gonna
we
show-
just found a
Everybody
more
can go
accurate.
online and look.
There's the Not Sure there, look at that.
I'm gonna show you.
But
It's here.
why do I have to have Wi-Fi to figure this out?
Because, well, you could have taken a site walk and looked. We drive
Oh,
by
then
it,
let's
but
let's continue and take a site walk.
That's unfair to make these people.
That's
continue
not
their site
unfair.
walk.
You just said I should take a site walk.
Anytime you go, here it is. Oh, I love you, Katrina.
It's right.
Here's the area that was subject of this. It's here.
I know.
It's on the back side. We
Now we're
all
gonna have a
drive
sign
by this
here.
400 times.
It's
in a month.
actually, I
moved
can't
it.
point at it, it's right up in the top
it's
left-hand
right
corner.
here.
It's right on the
that
very,
Verizon?
very
That's cool.
corner of,
Yeah, it's right there.
way over, yeah.
Completely on the back side of this.
Carpal tunnel
And can you see it?
Yeah.
Here it is.
Oh,
Oh, so you just had it. Here it is.
There it is, right there.
yeah, right there.
So we're gonna have another sign like 50 feet
Here, it'll
away.
be right here. I mean, if
How big is the sign again?
30 feet.
30 feet?
No,
30 inches.
30
Oh
square
my
feet.
God, 30
Oh my God, no.
30, wait a second, it is, it's 30.
Can we see why there's a little
square
confusion?
It is
30
square
feet?
No, 30 square feet.
It's like,
So it's
30
what
inches,
by
you
what?
wouldn't even know it was
I have
there.
it written down on the sign, one second.
Be lost in the grass.
It's 100 inches by 50 inches.
How big is it, Joe?
100 by 50
By 15?
Inches.
inches.
I don't know where it is.
No, they show it on the site plan. They show it on the site plan.
By 4,
Sorry.
by 4.
Can I have another computer?
8 feet. I think.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, well, it'd have to be in order
site
to
plan.
be effective in any way.
Just figured this
Don't be
part out.
scary.
What's the
Don't be
height
scary.
restriction, I forget? What's the height restriction?
15 feet.
15 off the ground.
And how tall is it? 14?
15, so it'll be another 4 feet
Yeah.
up there, and
On
it's
the
4 by
site
8, it's
plan,
not a real
so
big,
here it
big
is.
sign.
That isn't a big sign.
Katrina, can you
What it
go to
is.
the site plan that is in the package?
A
'Cause-
sheet of plywood.
so
Yeah.
basically, they're really kind of close.
They got a sign on the building, a sign on the other corner.
The site plan,
Well, what's
it's
the
in,
difference
That one?
with this? It's-
yeah.
There's so many
So-
signs out there now that it's ridiculous.
The northeast building,
The one.
their
Sign.
sign is in front of the first bush,
Right here.
bushes, yep. And then the second one's gonna be, I don't know what the scale is on this, but
But
it's not
that's a
very
ground
far.
sign. The other one's a ground sign.
Yeah,
This is a pylon
and
sign.
This one's gonna, it's
Look,
just
I
their,
don't disagree, but there is no other place for these people to put their sign.
But once they have a
And
sign,
this is definitely their property, and this is definitely their right to put up a pylon sign. I understand your point, but if you look where the pylon sign is, and you look where the wall sign is, and you look at all of the criteria, this particular building is being disadvantaged by an off-site sign that was permitted because they needed a sign. That abutter didn't show up, has no issues relative to the sign. It isn't, this is not an incongruence or an, of use.
I think they put it
If
up
you
before.
go anywhere along 114, you need signage. You need signage. And it is very important for people in business to succeed, to have something to draw people to you. I mean, I get, wanting to make sure we don't block them, and we
I
intentionally
don't,
kept
has
it off
anybody
that.
raised that concern?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
somebody did.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I just-
Oh,
But now that, that plan shows it, but now that there's a big sign on, we're talking about a big sign on the building, it kind of, if you're coming at the building from any angle now, the pylon sign's gonna be missed. I get the point, I'm not, but you're gonna have two signs about 50 feet, two pylons, well, two very big building signs about 50 feet away from each other.
I would talk to your client and figure out whether
They
it needs to
definitely
be.
want these two signs.
Sir,
Definitely.
please,
He wants to speak. He's the proponent.
I
Do you want him to talk?
I understand. Well, we finised?
Another
Are you
place.
finished?
Whatever, yeah, absolutely. Do you
I just
want-
wanted to make a point.
Do you have any other
Driving,
questions,
you
Craig,
can
for
see
her?
this.
No?
I
Okay.
think my concerns have been raised, and
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to speak, sir? Come up and identify yourself.
Hi, yes, thank you. My name is Rami. I'm the store manager
Can you
at
speak a
the.
little louder, please?
My name is Rami. I'm the store manager at the Verizon store. And just to make a point on that pylon, I think the major benefit of that pylon is advertising, but very much so the safety, to make sure that that is the proper entry point for the store. I don't know if you guys have a record of how many accidents actually happen at that intersection, but at least I would say, not even exaggerating, twice a month we witness an accident because of people entering the way Jill explained through our lot, and actually the correct way is to go through the Log Bridge Road. So by having the pylon on that spot, it actually illustrates, I think, more clearly that this is how we would get into Verizon, as opposed to coming in and taking the left after they've passed the intersection.
So you think there's a safety aspect to it also?
I think it has major safety benefit, yes.
Thank you.
so we can get rid of the wall sign then.
That was a question. You would have a wall sign on both sides plus the pylon, is that what we're talking about?
Yep, we want both of them. I mean, we comply with the sign, there's certain sign criteria the special permit sets out because there are needs for particular signs.
But
By-
what's the need for two signs on the same,
Again, because there's an
facing
entrance
area?
from Log Bridge Road.
but if we grant you the pylon sign,
You're not,
why do you need the sign on that side of the building?
again, because it is an entrance point on Log Bridge. and it makes
But the
more clear.
pylon sign shows you
It
where to
makes
go.
more,
He just
it
told us, like,
helps.
that.
He says it provides for a safety issue, and pursuant to the criteria of the sign bylaw, if you meet all of those criteria, you meet the requirements for adding a second sign. This couldn't be more of a paradigm case for allowing a second wall sign. This makes sense, because even with the pylon sign, you look, you go, okay, so can I get down there? By doing the wall sign, it really does direct your attention to that entrance point. Just the pylon sign at least directs you to the front of the lot, and it shows you that there's a turn. But even more importantly, that wall sign shows you an entrance point. I mean, that's the whole point of the second sign. That's why the criteria was what it is to make sure that people have direction. It truly is, Mr. Hartwell. I understand that there can be sign pollution, but there are many more signs in Middleton that are polluting it than this particular sign. I think that it truly is directive. I truly think it's a communication of a location, and I think it does demonstrate where the entrance points really and truly are. And to Sammy's point, this actually provides people with a better safety net, because hopefully they're going to go Logbridge Road instead of trying to get through.
Do you think, and I'm just gonna throw this out
please.
there, is you brought up Starbucks a couple times. So they have a trademark,
Yep.
the siren,
Oh, that woman, yep.
the green lady.
Sure,
That's
sure.
on every cup. Does Verizon have a similar trademark that they could do something
That's that
like?
check mark, Verizon and the check mark.
That's smaller.
No, it's just that sign.
Yeah, it's like,
Has to be
That's
the
what it
whole
is. Literally,
size?
this is their trademark.
yeah.
Come on, like, it has to be the whole size.
That's it. That's the whole trademark. Nobody thinks of Verizon as being a check mark. No, they don't have the
No.
siren sign.
I'm talking the size of it. Like, could you scale down the wall sign on that side to be directional and have the pedestal sign to be advertising?
How much, it's only 28 square feet. That is pretty small. 28 square feet along a third.
2 by 10?
It's 2 by 10. That is not a big sign from 35 feet away.
2.8 by 10.
But from being 30 feet away, that is not large.
But you
And
got a
that's even
pedestal
more-
sign.
It's over 100 feet. Again, it's to be
The pedestal,
directional.
I don't have a problem, I guess, I don't have a problem with the pedestal sign, because you have a right to do that.
Yeah.
But I got a problem with doing the pedestal sign and this 28 point whatever, square foot sign on the side of the
When you look at
building.
it on the side of the building, again, it's not an offensive sign. It doesn't create eye pollution. It simply provides people with direction to the entrance. Making it smaller will make it not readable.
It'll
the
make it
signage-
directional.
but you won't be
Because
able
the
to
question
read
is,
it.
is it directional?
It
You
is
tell me
directional.
you tell me 1 by 10 won't let people know where Verizon is?
No, because it will look, you won't even be able to read
They've got a
1 by
big
10.
pedestal sign telling them what road to go down.
They do. But 1 by 10 is, think about what 1 by 10 is, and then try and back up 100 feet.
But
This is 1 foot. This is 1 foot.
Right.
Go back 100
By
feet.
10,
This is 100 foot.
May I jump into this one?
please.
That's small.
I think the issue here, I mean, being in business for a long, long time, we all have a lot of signs around that building, especially when they're facing the Middleton's parking lot. It's a draw, and I can understand that there. Maybe a little bit overplay, because I can't really see where it's gonna have any directional value to this here. That's my take on it. The pylon, absolutely, definitely.
I think
But
I
I just
agree.
can't, I'm sorry?
I agree with Nick
You know,
completely.
you got one there, one in the front's fine, you got, and sometimes it's all overplay. But I can understand the reason why.
And honestly, under your bylaw, they comply with every single solitary criteria. I think that this board needs to focus on the fact that your decision would not be based on any rational concepts, because your bylaw says, if you are on a corner lot, if you have 2 entrances, if you have frontage on that place, then you can comply and get the sign. They meet every single criteria. What you're saying is, other properties who do not merit it, who do not have the right to have it, are granted it, but this property that actually complies does not. Every other property with 2 signs has a pylon sign and 2 wall signs. Every single one. I'm not asking for something that is an extraordinary relief. I'm truly not. I came to you with a particular proposal that satisfies all of your criteria. And there's a reason for the criteria, to ensure that business owners like this can rely on what you put in your sign bylaw.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm afraid, and it's a weird lot, but are we confusing where to enter? We all know how you would get into that, but, I mean, there's entrances and exits all around that.
If anything,
into and out
hopefully,
of that site.
that's
so-
driving you to that entrance. They would prefer people to come in that entrance and not come in off of 114. That is their preference. But they can't put their sign on the backside of the property because they don't own that property on the backside where the entrance is, so it'll make it more confusing. Then we looked everywhere. Then you really have a conflict with the North Shore Business Center sign, and we can't do that. I mean, that isn't fair to North Shore Business Center. We can't conflict with them like that.
So how does traffic that's coming eastbound on
Oof.
114,
Eastbound.
they're not gonna pick up on the Verizon sign actually until they get through the intersection, and then they're gonna make a sharp left turn against traffic, right?
Oh, no, you can see, if you
But if they
allow
took the left at the light on Log Bridge, they could enter from Log Bridge.
Yes, so if you have at the light, I think the pylon sign is visible. The pylon sign would be pretty visible. It's only 14
If you're
feet
going
tall,
4
but it's
by
pretty
10 and you're on
visible.
114,
Pardon?
it's a 4 by 10 roughly,
Yeah.
going on 114. You're gonna see it on both.
Yeah, so you'll see it,
west.
which is the point.
Like every other vendor on the street, you're gonna see the sign, you're gonna pull in.
Yeah. But we're hoping that if you notice, it's after the entrance point, so the hope is they come by and they go and they take Log Bridge and they don't stop and enter on the Main Street side. The desire is to truly focus and push them to the Log Bridge side. It is,
To utilize the light.
absolutely.
If you were coming east on 114,
East.
it'd be advantageous to take Log Bridge and enter their parking lot off Log Bridge,
Oh.
rather than go through the light and then stop to make a left turn where traffic is backed up on the other side and the other
Oh.
2 lanes
And you
going
can't get through.
westbound.
And then people stop. It's just like
Yeah.
trying to get into Dunkin' Donuts,
Yeah.
right? So no, that's not untrue. The desire is to trigger people, to
And you
have them
could
see it.
identify that sign at the lights.
But that's why they have the wall, that's why the wall sign, which is to the back of the property, right in front of the entrance, is so instrumental to their doing that. Again, we're not trying to overburden. If we were trying to overburden, we would have done a full 36 square foot sign and the sign that was the same in front and try to get a bigger sign on the side. It's smaller than the front
Why don't
sign,
you
it
put
is.
Why don't you put an entrance sign at the driveway, like a lot of people
You
do?
can, how big, I mean, you can't,
That's fine.
first of all, when you look, see where the property is? That's the property line. The property line, and then we interfere with North Shore Business Center coming out. I suppose it doesn't work, because it's an odd property. The right-of-way for the town extends in an odd fashion. When North Shore Business, well, I'm not gonna give you the history, I won't even do it, but this is a weird-shaped lot. And as far as putting an
that.
entrance sign, that's the purpose of doing the wall sign. So now you have this big, I don't know how big, I mean, I suppose an entrance sign, it's directional, so you can put it as big as you want, and can you put it, I don't know where you can put it. I think still 10 feet from the property line, which would put it literally in the middle of their parking lot. You can't do it. That side, you can't do anything other than the wall sign.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, it was a taking, that's what it was, when they did, remember when they expanded Route 114 and put the light up? When Market Bass came in, that's when they did the full taking.
How old do you think I am?
Oh, well, you live
Don't
here.
point at me, jeez.
You're in Middleton, you're a townie, you and Ann have been here forever.
God, the beard, must be the beard,
When I grew
right?
up in Paradise Park, signs that was there, and all the other signs were there. These are little small signs. Let's go get the big signs that used to be there. Put them up. Jesus Christ.
Mr. Chairman, do we know the voting members on this yet?
That's a good
Yes.
question.
There's the 4 board members and Craig.
No, he already said you, sorry.
You can just say he.
Don't do that one. Don't do that little smile.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, is there a motion?
To do it. You wanna read it, Carolyn?
Do it.
You wanna do it? Go.
Counselor?
Back up.
No, I'm just kidding. Sit down. You ran the gamut on this one.
I know.
All right, I make a motion to issue the following findings. That the northwesterly side of the building is an appropriate location for the second sign. Having signage on both sides of the building, that our entrances improves the public's ability to receive information regarding the location of Verizon, who is the current tenant or owner. The second wall sign is consonant with the signage maintained by many neighboring businesses throughout this part of Route 1 and in the M1 zoning district. The second wall sign does not create any nuisance or serious hazard to vehicular or pedestrian traffic or safety. The second wall sign is a simple, internally illuminated sign that conveys the name of the operation and is easily read by passing traffic. The area of the second wall sign complies with the dimensional requirements of 5.2.11, paragraph 2, section A. The petitioner is not proposing to make any changes to the layout of the property other than the addition of the ground sign. The ground sign is located 10 feet from all boundary lines. The ground sign complies with all setback requirements of section 5.2.5, paragraph 3, and the height limitation of 5.2.11, paragraph B. And the advertising area of the ground sign complies with the area limitations of 5.2.11C.
Second that? Or are we still going?
Wait a minute.
Is that the special permit?
Yeah, those are the findings of the special permit, but give me a second.
Are you waiting for a second?
No, I'm waiting to catch my breath.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
For a second.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor vote.
Yep.
All right.
Aye.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are we voting on both signs together?
Voting on
As
the whole
one?
package.
Findings, yeah, just the findings.
Just the findings.
Tim,
So the findings are gonna apply to both the site plan and the special permit.
so they're not separate?
The findings will go to both.
Well, one is by rights.
So,
One's by rights, right, so,
yeah, so the special permit will apply those findings to the additional signage
yeah.
on one side, and then the special permit, or the site plan approval will go to the pedestal sign and the new sign.
I have a problem with, I just believe it's too much signage there. All right, and for that reason, I'm gonna vote no.
Oh, I said aye.
You said aye?
Yeah.
You sure?
4-1.
I'm sorry, did you
Said
vote?
aye.
You
I
said
s-
aye.
I said
Okay.
aye.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So 4-1.
Okay, the vote is 4-1.
So here's where it gets to
What?
cutting time. So we've got a special permit and a site plan approval that we need to get approved. So the special permit, I'll make a motion based on the previously approved findings that were approved 4-1. Based on those findings, that pursuant to 5.211F of the bylaws and the board's authority under 5.2.7 and 9.4, the addition of the second wall sign will allow petitioner to provide information to the public in an orderly, safe, and convenient manner that will not distract from the visual environment in accordance with the purposes set forth in 5.2.1 of the bylaw and satisfies the criteria set forth in 5.2.7 paragraph 2. So moved.
Second?
Motion's made, second. All those in favor vote?
Yep.
Aye.
The next meeting.
I'm gonna say aye.
No.
No.
So,
So before we actually move on, they would prefer to have the second wall sign than the pylon sign. It's far better for them to direct to the entrance. It creates a better safety situation than that pylon sign does.
So, Ann, you didn't vote, right?
Oh, geez.
So the vote's not complete.
Well, you didn't close, so yes. So my point is they truly, it makes far more sense to have the second wall sign.
Then the pylon sign?
Much more, because it doesn't direct as well as that second wall sign.
So you just need site plan approval under 5.9.
No, that's exact opposite. So site special permit, what I'm asking is before you actually close and move on to the next vote, that you reconsider the vote because they're going to give up the modification to the site plan and won't put on the pylon sign and will remove that from the consideration.
all right.
Keep in mind, once you do issue the special permit, they're entitled to the pylon sign in a year or two, or next month.
Well, they've been entitled to that right from the beginning.
Right.
Whoa, so wait.
So now we're talking conditions.
You can condition the second, you can condition
The special permit that there will not be a pylon sign approved on the property.
I mean, if we're willing to accept
You
that,
take that away.
and not ever have a pylon sign on the property unless you come back and you modify the decision.
And we can take a recess to talk about it, because
Yeah, they want the second wall sign. They're willing to put a condition on that they won't have the pylon sign. Safety-wise, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't.
It's good to be able to see it when you're sitting at the light instead of getting through the light and going, oh, there's the building. You're
That's
better
what
off
always
sitting at the light, sitting in traffic. Oh, yeah, there it is over there. Then you can get over into the left, the middle lane, you can get into Log Bridge. I think they're absolutely correct,
Oh, they are.
So what are you
my
gonna
own
do?
point of view.
Condition it then?
So they would be willing to condition it.
you short, like, you want to take a break?
100% sure. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
All right.
All right.
So going back to the,
Nope.
okay. Crossing all that out, all right. So, conditioning the special permit?
I need a 5-minute recess.
You need a 5-minute recess. Okay. Got it.
If it so pleases the board, Mr. Chairman,
Probably shouldn't have chugged that Red Bull.
to just,
He wants a 5-minute recess to get his thoughts together on the
Sure.
permit. Yep.
We'll take a recess, 5 minutes.
we're not waiting for the recess.
We're back on the record.
What do we got now?
So I think we're going
Counselor,
to...
we're gonna take and table this for a bit and move on to the next item on the agenda.
Absolutely, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is 27 Acorn Street, special permit,
Somehow I lost my sheet.
reconstruction of a single-family dwelling.
The zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing July 25th, 7 PM at Fuller Meadow, acting the following petition. Acorn Street Realty LLC for 2 special permits under section 3.3.6 pursuant to section 9.4 in connection with the legally pre-existing non-conforming single dwelling, and section 3.3.7 pursuant to section 9.4 of the Middleton zoning bylaw, or any additional relief the board may find necessary to authorize the petitioner to reconstruct a single-family dwelling after demolition of the prior non-conforming legally existing dwelling on the property located at 27 Acorn Street, Assessors Map 18, Parcel 54.
Here.
The abutters have been notified, and there is some,
Sorry about that.
there is some correspondence.
Okay, let's hold that.
Yep.
All right, counsel?
Good evening. Jill Mann here on behalf of Acorn Street Realty LLC. This particular property is located on Acorn Street. It is a property that was subject of tax taking by the town of Middleton. Here with me this evening is Jay Currier, the principal of Acorn Street Realty LLC. The particular property comprised of several lots from back in the 1927 when the property was first subdivided, and Katrina has put up the subdivision plan. The particular property eventually became known as 3 individual assessor maps. On the assessor map now, and the way you request abutters, it's only lot 54, but it used to be lot 54, lot 50, and lot 52. This particular property has actually gone through conservation and has a permit, and it was extended. I noticed that there were comments from Kristen Kent that there hadn't been a permit, but it actually was extended. This property has been permitted by the Conservation Commission in this particular dwelling. Basically, the home was taken by the town for non-payment of taxes back in, well, it was done in several increments. Back in 2014 is when it all started. Mr. Currier bought it at auction in 2 different ways. Once it was assigned, I don't know how many are familiar with, you can assign a tax taking. So instead of the town having to go through and foreclose someone's rights, they literally assign that right to the particular purchaser, which was Mr. Currier, and then that person has to go through the whole process of seeking judgment in court to enforce that particular taking. And that was done by Mr. Currier. It took a very, very long time to have that process completed. But in the meantime, he was actually conveyed one of the other lots, and that was done through a traditional conveyance, memorandum of sale done at an auction, and then the acquisition. One of the conditions of that particular sale was that the building be immediately raised within 60 days. As a result of that, we are seeking what they call a reinstatement of a legally existing non-conforming protection. And that's what the first special permit is for. And the reason for that is because the town forced the demolition, and basically Mr. Currier was told, you know, when the time comes, we'll support being able to actually build on that particular property, and bought it in reliance on that. So eventually, the home was completely razed. The property now is just a vacant lot that sits there, you know, kind of weedy and needs to be renovated and or redeveloped. So what Mr. Currier is proposing to do is to construct a traditional single-entrance home on the property. It's a 4-bedroom home. It complies. It got its septic system. The home itself is compliant with all setbacks in the area. It's pretty much consonant with the surrounding area. You can see the lots are actually traditionally even smaller than this particular lot, which is about 15,000 square feet. The property that is behind it is the location for a condominium. That has been done years ago, and you can kind of see where the condominiums sit now. The properties across the street are all single-family homes, so this is pretty consistent. I do know that you have correspondence from the assessor confirming what I'm telling you about the property having been taken, about the property having been in tax title, and about the deplorable condition that it was in at the time Mr. Currier purchased and demolished the building pursuant to the requirements of the memorandum of sale. The property has been designed for a septic system, and that septic system has been approved by the Board of Health. As I said, this has gone before Conservation, and the project has been approved by the Conservation Commission. At this point, we're here before you, again, for the reinstatement under 3.3.6 and for a special permit that would allow the reconstruction of a legally existing non-conforming structure. So you might ask, well, why do you need that? Because we're not building in the exact same footprint as the prior home. The prior home was totally non-conforming, was located in a different area, and that's why. So this is a change in the footprint, and once you do that, then we have to come back here to the board, regardless of whether or not we comply with all of the setback requirements. So that's why we're here tonight. we would ask this board to grant us the special permit. It's pretty clear that the project had to be raised. There was no doubt that the building had to come down. This particular property is only going to enhance the neighborhood. The neighbors really want to see this property renovated and redeveloped. At the present time, it's just an open vacant lot that is kind of an eyesore and unkept. Mr. Currier will plans on, again, putting up a building that will comply with all of the current setback requirements. As I said, it will comply with all the building code requirements, safety, fire, stormwater, and it will have a brand-new compliant Title V septic system. So based on that, pursuant to all of the criteria for a special permit, how does it meet a community need? Well, the community wanted this thing torn down, so it addressed the need for actually getting rid of non-conforming structures that are really in deplorable condition and constructing in place thereof a state-of-the-art home, a brand-new home that can be a location for a new family. In addition, are there adequate utilities? Common, right? Yes, there are adequate utilities available. Is there sufficient parking? Is there any issue relative to traffic? It already was a single-family home, so the burden relative to traffic is the same and will stay the same. The particular property will actually create an improvement to the natural environment because it's going to comply with stormwater management. That old home was a disaster, and I would venture to say it probably was a cesspool, and now it'll be a Title V compliant system, which is a septic system. How does this also address the economic and fiscal needs of the community? Well, it actually is going to now become a tax-producing property. In addition to that, Mr. Currier did satisfy all of the prior tax liens, so all of those monies were paid. Based on all of those criteria, I would ask that this board grant those special permits, again, to reinstate the protection and to allow Mr. Currier to build a home pursuant to section 3.3.7. Thank you very much.
Let me ask you a question.
Please, Mr. Nazaro.
When these projects come up like his, I like to go by and look at them before we come here, so I have some sort of a concept in my mind of what we're talking about. I visited this project twice.
Good.
And the first time, I wasn't really sure where it was. There was no sign, no mailbox or anything. And I realized Currier Real Estate may be on a low-budget income right now, starting these projects, but in the future, a vacant lot like this, if your client could put up a sign and just say Lot 54 or the number, just to give me personally a little insight.
that's
because
actually
it's
a good
helpful when I see these things before we come in here, I have a better idea. But I did see his,
No, that's a
what is
smart.
it, a tractor you got out there, Jay?
Yeah, compactor.
Yeah,
Fathers.
an ancient one?
Yeah, everything we have is.
Welcome to the
I had
Currier
an
way.
idea when I saw the tractor, it might be his.
Yeah,
I still
that,
couldn't figure
you know what, that's a good idea, and, from now on, I actually will, when we don't have something that already
You know,
exists,
if
that
there's
makes
a
sense.
mailbox or an existing
There's
house
nothing
there,
there.
we see a number, and
Yeah, it's like a
90% of
hub.
the time, that's the situation.
Yeah, no, and there's nothing there. No, it's a good idea, thank you, I do appreciate that.
Okay, you want to read the correspondence, please?
This one is this is dated July 25th, that would be today. This is from the conservation agent, Kristen Kent. The application for 27 Acorn Street will be required to file with the Concom due to its proximity to adjacent wetlands. The project will also be required to comply with the town's storm management bylaw. And the fire chief's fine, the police chief's fine. The assessor's office, I totally support Acorn Street request. This is a very complicated tax title situation. The town clearly wanted the existing house raised due to public danger, potential nuisance it harbored. I found live ammunition all around the exterior on the ground and turned it over to the police. Allowing a new home there is a public benefit to the neighborhood and town. Electric light, DPW, water are fine. Water department says 27 Acorn will have to get a water tap permit if they decide to hook into town water. That is it.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone here to speak in favor of this project? Would you like to speak, Jay?
I'm in favor, it's my property. My thing, I just want you to know, we bought this from the town.
you're not in
I didn't
opposition?
realize the 3 parcels, and the town only took 1 completely.
That was the problem.
And then they made me, I had to hire Capola, which is the town's lawyer, to do the rest of the taking, which took forever to go to land court, to get the court findings, all this
That's why
stuff.
there's that
That's what
delay.
took so long.
Yeah.
I thought when I bought it, knock it down, let's do something with it. No, that wasn't the case. I had to
need
go
the
to
right lawyer.
court, go to land court, hire him, pay him a whole bunch more money, and here we are today.
And that is the reason for needing the reinstatement of the protection, because
Yeah, I
he had to
understand
raise
that,
it and
yeah.
then couldn't acquire the property.
They
and
required
had
me to
build.
raise it within 60 days of purchasing it. That was part of the deal. If you bought the property, you had to knock it down within 60 days of them buying it. We had to get asbestos abatement, we had all the asbestos out of the house, live ammunition, guns, more, it was crazy, the stuff there, so.
Are you on good terms with your neighbors up there?
Now I am, now that he's gone.
Now that he has all the guns.
Yeah. We don't really want to talk about that much,
That
but,
wasn't, DG told me they were all gone.
yeah,
That's good.
DG did it.
Anybody to speak in opposition to the project? Board members have any questions?
I just have a quick septic question. It says a 4-bedroom, but the plan shows 3 bedrooms, or it says office.
Yeah, no,
That's a
that'll be,
bedroom,
that'll be a
right?
4th bedroom. I don't
Okay.
understand why
I
that
didn't know
plan
if there
showed
was-
that.
'cause I
And
thought-
it meets the criteria for a bedroom, because I wanted to.
Yeah, it
I
looks
wanted
like
to
a
put
bedroom.
a window above all this, and then I couldn't do it because
Oh.
that's a bedroom. So now they made these windows all the way
Okay.
across.
Okay,
So
that was-
that'll be the 4th bedroom.
And I checked, and it was 4 bedrooms.
Yeah, and it's a 4th, yeah, it's right here. Sewage design system,
Okay.
4-bedroom.
Yeah, I checked, I know it just, yeah, the actual architectural showed the 3, but I knew the septic system provided for
I thought
4.
I had read it,
Yep,
so,
you
okay.
did.
And you vote on this
Yep.
project here, please. Okay, any other questions from the board? We have a motion.
Who wants to read it? Do you want to do it, Carolyn?
Yeah, I don't know that I,
That's right. Go to the findings and a decision page.
yeah, I don't think I have that.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you. Or maybe I don't know, I don't know. I don't know what I have, what I don't have here. Okay. So, I move to find, that the, special permits will satisfy a community need to have safe and well-maintained properties. The reestablishment of the protections for non-conforming structures is consistent with the intent of the town to redevelop the property. The construction of the proposed home serves a community need to remove dilapidated structures and authorize the reconstruction of state-of-the-art structures that will meet all current building and safety codes and stormwater management and Title V regulations. The reconstruction of the proposed home will have no effect on vehicular or pedestrian traffic flow and safety. The current level of utilities is adequate. The proposed home will result in beneficial impacts on the natural environment and to the neighborhood. The petitioner obtained a design for the installation of a new on-site septic system, as well as stormwater management system that will constitute an improvement to the environment. The proposed home will have an immediate positive economic and fiscal impact. The petitioner acquired the property out of tax title and was required to pay all of the back taxes to the town. In addition to redeveloping this property, the assessed value of and the tax revenues generated by the property will increase. The property home is consonant with the residential character of the neighborhood and will convert a vacant weeded lot into a properly designed and maintained home and yard.
There a second?
I'll
Second.
Motion's made and second. All those in favor vote?
Aye.
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 So I move, based on the findings, by the aforementioned findings, and the board's authority to grant such relief under 3.3.6 and 9.4 of the bylaws, I move to approve to issue the special permit to reestablish the protections afforded to non-conforming structures, Do I have to do do we have to do a second one for the, no, okay.
No.
And that, based on the aforementioned findings, the board's authority to grant such relief under, 3.3.73 and 9.4, we issue this special permit, authorizing the construction of the proposed home.
A second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor vote?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much, appreciate it.
When's the open house?
He didn't say it was already built.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's at least 20 days after today.
Thank you, Board.
It's getting more complicated the more I look at the sign bylaw.
Yeah, of course.
All right, we'll go back and reopen. 234 Main Street. And,
So
Rick,
back
with you.
we have a little bit of a funny and unique property. And you said your client doesn't want the pedestal, just the wall sign?
The wall sign is a far better indication of where the entrance is. So if this board is having the issue that it's too much signage, then the second wall sign is far superior as far as directing people to that entrance. So that is what they would prefer.
Will it be illuminated?
Yep, it's internally, just like the front one, it's internally
So-
illuminated.
I think the biggest thing is figuring out the hours that it'll be illuminated.
I think on 114, it's illuminated all the time. I think they all are. Like, the current sign is 24 hours. I mean,
But
whenever it
your
is.
hours of operation, I mean, you need it illuminated.
I mean, like Market Basket's illuminated
Yeah,
all
they're
night
all
long. I don't think
illuminated,
you
yeah.
can,
All hours.
I mean, all the signs on
We
114.
had to, we're pretty much illuminated all night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Every-
I know it's your LEDs, I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, so,
Looking over the sign bylaw, with the fine tooth comb, it's, if your client's willing to say that that's the only sign they're gonna ask for. Cool.
Are we? Awesome.
But,
So how are you gonna, how do you wanna verbiage that out here?
well,
so basically, I would tell you that I withdraw the request to modify the site plan, and then what you would do is in the special permit, you would say that it's
we're gonna say
conditioned.
no ground sign will be permitted on the property as long as the second wall sign is installed on the
Without
building.
further relief by this board.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or modification of the special permit is what you have to say.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay.
You guys good?
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I got more work to do?
No.
We've already made all the findings,
Yeah, you
though.
made them all, yeah.
And they passed.
Yep.
So based on the previously accepted findings, I will make a motion that pursuant to section 5.2.11F of the bylaw and the board's authority under 5.2.7 and 9.4, the addition of the second wall sign will allow the petitioner to provide information to the public in an orderly, safe, and convenient manner that will not detract from the visual environment in accordance with the purposes set forth in 5.2.1 of the bylaw and satisfies criteria in 5.2.7, paragraph 2. with the conditions that no ground sign will be permitted on the property as long as the second wall sign is installed on the building.
Motion's made,
Wait, one second.
excuse me?
Yeah.
Ground sign pylon, there's the difference. One, New
That's
England office has got a ground sign. We're talking about
Pylon.
any sign going there.
No additional signage is permitted on the property.
Yeah, ground sign is a defined term, there's no other term for it. But that's fine, I mean, it's no, you can say that. I mean, obviously, the front sign stays.
And you wanted to add the language without further relief.
Without further relief under the special permit.
Is that
Okay.
okay?
The motion's made, is there a second?
Second.
Second,
Everybody good?
Yeah, I'll second it.
it's already second.
It's already second.
All those in favor, vote.
Yep.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, we appreciate it. Great.
Guys, best of luck.
This is the end. Thank
Come by with my phone later.
Oh,
Think about that pink.
just give me a check here, yep.
We're good.
All right,
Nice
there
job.
being no further business?
Yes, sir.
There is.
Sorry. Oh, there's more business.
Come on.
If you look at the agenda you were given, there was something added to it. I saw on your agenda, you didn't have 4B. Does everyone else
Yep.
have 4B?
The
on there?
proposed revision to the general
Proposed revision to
conditions.
ZBA general conditions.
How come I don't have that?
I think you probably printed it out as soon as you got it. Oh, thank you. You probably printed it out as soon as I
So
sent
this,
it out.
this agenda that you've got is an amended one?
Well, it was amended, but it still was posted before the 48 hours
Well,
required.
when you send me one, that's what I use. When you amend it, you gotta tell me that you amended it and
No, I
there's another
amended, I
copy.
put it into Dropbox. I didn't think you would look into it so quickly.
Oh.
I think I even amended it that Friday.
He's very
I'm watching all your emails, Katrina. I give you top priority. I never miss one of them. Okay, let me see
So-
if I have that,
You have it there?
I think I probably do.
So you all have a copy in your
Look at that.
Dropbox, but I did put it up on the screen for me too, because it's hard for me to go back and forth between the Dropbox. This was suggested, I've been talking to the director, what do we call him? The water department? Water operator. We're trying to, get all the correct permits for, I don't even know what they're called, the water permits that
The
are
flush permits?
necessary. The what?
Did you say flush permits?
Additional.
No.
Additional water
It's
permits.
approvals, right? That's what you're looking for here.
Right, and so the concern was that every time someone hooks into water, they need to get a water permit. If they extend our water main at all, they need to go to Danvers and get permission, because Danvers is limiting how many users are using the water here. 97 North Main, the planning board approved, and they kind of assumed that they were going to be allowed to extend the water main just because they got a special permit from the planning board. So he said, what can you do with the boards so that they're more aware that they need to get all these permits? They can't just assume that they're going to get all these permits. So this is just language from another town that they put into all their decisions, and it really says nothing. It's just warning the applicant that this ZBA permit or this planning board permit doesn't mean that you have all those permits. You still need to get all the necessary permits.
No, well, the board, we don't have any authority with the water department to, you're asking us just to warn somebody when they come
Right.
in and they get an
So
approval?
I want you to just, to approve this amendment to your general conditions so that it's put in all future decisions, just to warn people that this is just a special permit for the use. It isn't.
A lot of people don't realize that, believe it or not. The person that doesn't do this all day
My
long.
suggestion to the director was you actually respond to the request for comments with that.
Oh, and that was the second thing, too.
So
Right,
if you don't
so,
respond and you don't make a comment,
And it has to be time limited. So if they don't, you need to give, like, for instance, if an applicant has 15 days to file an application and like provide notice and all that, and then the hearing is held, you can't give these other boards another month to decide.
No, but Katrina sends out the notices of the meeting and all the package.
But I've dealt with other towns where you get your 2-week notice, but these other boards have a month to respond.
No, but this can easily be avoided if the department heads actually respond.
But they need to be time limited.
Yeah.
So it needs to be 7 days, really. I mean, we're all town residents.
We're talking about me asking the department heads for their comments. That's all we're talking about.
Right.
Oh,
we have
okay.
here.
And
So if they don't respond within 7 days.
He had never been asked for his comments because it's the water department is the DPW. It falls under the DPW.
But
it
after
wasn't
7
getting
days,
to
if he
him.
hasn't responded, he's assented. And we shouldn't hold that against an applicant.
Right. So
That's my point. So
what-
you get 7 days.
what we're saying is that he's trying to get us into good shape with our water. And so he asked for our help. And I said, okay, these are 2 things I can do. I can ask the board to adopt these as general conditions, and I can start asking you for comments. And that's really all we're trying to say.
I think all of these comments are great, just they get 7 days. Because it's 14 days to advertise for an application. So if they're not gonna respond, they've assented. And it shouldn't, they're
That says applying for a building permit, and that's redundant because we do it anyways.
I'm just saying, if they haven't responded,
You go through that.
by the time that we have a hearing, it shouldn't hold up an application.
I will say that this week, I forgot to ask for department comments 2 weeks ago. So I asked for comments just 2 days ago, and look at all the
They
comments
all
we
came
got.
back.
They did a
So it shouldn't
really
be a
good
problem.
job this week.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
hasn't been. Yeah.
And it shouldn't be, but I'm just saying, if we're gonna set up a new procedure, if the procedure is if I apply for an application for a special permit, a variance, whatever, I get 14 days notice. I shouldn't be set back a whole nother month because one of these boards hasn't responded.
We don't do that with this board. If you notice, if someone doesn't give a comment, we just didn't receive a comment.
Didn't get one.
But we should set up a time frame for when they should respond to
This
it.
doesn't even say about the hearing, this is talking about issuing a permit. This is kind of
This is what
out of the realm of,
us.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It's
fall in with
it's a review that's already being done, and the issue arose out of communication or lack of communication within one department, which there's now, a new department head, new water operator, and they're working on resolving the issue. And if everyone responds when they're sent out with a boilerplate, you need permission to tie into our water system, I mean, that can be his boilerplate response when the request for comments is sent out.
My concern
building
is the 20-day appeal period, and we're giving people an opportunity to appeal.
Yeah.
You
I mean, I've already had to issue building
Because
permits with
one of
departments.
these,
Don't do what they're supposed to do in
departments
the
hasn't
time period,
responded.
because I'm limited by law too with the time.
You're losing me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think you guys are talking about two different things.
yeah, that's fine.
I,
No,
Let's talk
I agree. You're
afterwards.
making a good point that the town can't
think
hold
we
up
should pass on
an
this.
applicant.
Yeah,
You
no.
know,
We
the
never
water
do,
department,
and we never
well,
have.
can't come back in a month and
Unless
say,
it's the
oh.
Concom and we really
But that's-
want to know.
That's
I just think there
Katrina
should be a
keeps on those
date
people.
specific, or like
the
a time
comments?
frame.
like, when I send it out, say, and I need these back in 7 days, or you lose the right to comment.
Yep, that's fine.
All right, yeah.
I think that's fair. I mean,
I usually say, this is when the public hearing is, get the comments back to me before the public hearing. If we don't have them, then we ask them.
then you've assented.
We can get it.
Yeah.
Right.
But
And that's-
could you vote on this general condition, though, tonight?
I'll make a motion.
Just,
Make a motion. Second.
Okay, motion?
Vote.
Yeah, we're voting aye.
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 thank you.
There you go.
Do it, come on.
Thank you.
Aye.
No further business, a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
You set a record. 2 hours.
Sorry, Craig, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking.